The NBA season is back. IMHO is back, live from the Grind City Media Studios, right down the street from Bill Street. I'm Michael Wallace. I'm joined by my man Johnny Hustle, Johnny Roser. And listen, before we get started, shout out to my hometown squad, the Washington Nationals. Speaking of coming back, second time they've done it, man. Wild card, and now against those Dodgers, those stinking Dodgers and those stinking Braves are out. Kick them to the side. But look, we're not here to talk about baseball. We're here to talk about the NBA.
Mike, I just want to know which gas station you bought that hat at on your way into work today.
Hey, listen, don't hate,
look
man.
At that thing.
Like I said, don't hate,
look
participate, enunciate, don't play or hate. Just look, just jump in. Just jump in with us.
Why aren't you wearing a Redskins hat? Why aren't you wearing a Redskins hat?
We're going to go there? Let me shift gears right here before it becomes a beatdown in the studios like it normally is when Rosa shows up for IMHO. Listen, biggest question you have about the NBA season as we're coming into the season. Now, we're about halfway through the preseason slate. Not playoffs, but NBA games. The regular season starts in 2 weeks. Johnny Hustle, what's your number one question you have for a player, team, franchise, or whatever going into the NBA season?
I would say this team is like a fringe playoff team. We don't know if they're going to be there at the 6, 7, or 8 seed or if they're going to be on the outside looking in. And I think a lot of it comes down to this guy, and that is Kristap Porzingis still a top 10, top 15, top 20 kind of player? This is a guy we haven't seen play in 20 months. He has not played a regular season basketball game in 20 months. He played in the preseason last night when the Mavericks played the Detroit Pistons. And I will say, from watching, obviously I'm not watching the whole game, but seeing the highlights and everything, Luca Doncic has lost weight. Clearly, you saw baby fat on him last year. I think he fell in love with the American food a little too much, which can happen to Europeans when they come over here to America for the first year.
He had the baby fat on him when he came over. But he bought the baby fat with him when he came over. He imported the baby fat.
But if you look at him, he has clearly dropped 15 pounds and looked much leaner, and he looked fantastic last night. And Porzingis had some nice plays last night, but we'll see how it translates to the regular season. If Kristap Porzingis is that all-star level player, and Luka Doncic, which I believe is going to take another step forward, if they are top 20 players in the NBA, then the Dallas Mavericks have a really good chance of making the playoffs. So to me, the question is Kristap Porzingis.
I think one of the projections I saw about the Mavericks were that they were right around 41 and a half wins. So that's about a 500 team right there when you talk about that. So my thing is this. My number one question, I'm going to take my hat off for this, though, but I gave my love to the Nationals. Did the Brooklyn Nets just spend $300 million in 2 players' salaries just to be relevant? Because I don't think that this team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is ever going to win an NBA championship. The Brooklyn Nets were already a team that touched the surface of the playoffs. So they're in a situation right now where how much better are they going to get? We know we're not going to see Durant this season. Kyrie Irving has already proven that he's not necessarily going to make you better in terms of playoff contention just yet. He didn't do it in Boston. But they spent $300 million just to try to be relevant and get a few headlines from the Knicks. I don't know how well that's going to turn out in Brooklyn. But, again, that's one of those situations where, again, the Nets have to step out of the element of being that stepbrother, that stepchild in New York. I didn't think they needed to spend $300 million to do that, but we will see. That's our opinions. We want to hear yours. Follow us on all of our social media channels at Grind City Media, and we'll be back next week for another edition of IMHO.